Welcome to the Appendix, where we read primary sources of the past so that you can better understand the present. Today's primary source, Plantation Agreement at Providence, August 27, 1640. In 1636, Roger Williams led a small band of settlers from Massachusetts Bay to Narragansett Bay and founded the town of Providence. In 1638 and 1639, other settlements were established, but all of these towns remained separate and independent until the Charter of 1644 went into effect. In 1640, the inhabitants of Providence drew up an agreement in which, among other things, they covenanted to hold forth liberty of conscience. We, Robert Coles, Chad Brown, William Harris, and John Warner, being freely chosen by the consent of our loving friends and neighbors, the inhabitants of this town of Providence, having many differences among us, they being freely willing and also bound themselves to stand to our arbitration in all differences among us, to rest contented in our determination, be trusted we have seriously and carefully endeavored to weigh and considered all those differences, being desirous to bring to unity and peace, although our abilities are far short in the due examination of such weighty things, yet so fair as we convene in laying all things together, we have gone the fairest and equalest way to produce our peace. 2. Agreed. We have with one consent agreed that for the disposing of these lands that shall be disposed belonging to this town of Providence, to be in the whole inhabitants by the chosen of 5 men for general disposal of lands, and also of the town stock and all general things, and not to receive in any 6 days a townsman, but first to give the inhabitants notice to consider, if any have just cause to shew against the receiving of him as you can apprehend, and to receive none but shall as subscribe to our determination. Also we agree for the town to choose besides the other 5 men, 1 or more, to keep record of all things belonging to the town and lying in common. We agree, as formerly hath been the liberties of the town, so still to hold forth liberty of conscience. 3. Agreed, that after many considerations and consultations of our own state and also of states abroad in way of government, we apprehend no way so suitable to our condition as government by way of arbitration. But if men agree themselves by arbitration, no state we know of disallows that, neither do we. But if men refuse that which is but commonly humanity between man and man, then to compel such unreasonable persons to a reasonable way, we agree that the 5 disposers shall have power to compel him to choose himself, or if he refuse, for them to choose 2 men to arbitrate his cause. And if they 4 men chosen by every party do end the cause, then to see their determination performed, and the faultive to pay the arbitrators for their time spent in it. But if these 4 men do not end it, then for the 5 disposers to choose 3 men to put an end to it. And for the certainty thereof we agree the major part of the 4 disposers to choose the 3 men, and the major part of the 3 men to end the cause, having power for the 5 disposers by a note under their hand to perform it, and the faultive not agreeing in the first to pay the charge of the last, and for the arbitrators to follow no employment till the cause be ended without consent of the whole that have to do with the cause. Instance: in the first arbitration, the offender may offer reasonable terms of peace, and the offended may exact from him and refuse and trouble men beyond reasonable satisfaction. So for the last arbiters to judge where the fault was, and not agreeing in the first to pay the charge of the last. 4. Agreed that if any person damnify any man, either in goods or good name, and the person offended follow not the cause upon the offender, that if any person give notice to the 5 disposals, they shall be called the party delinquent to answer for arbitration. Instance, thus, if any person abuse an other person or goods, may be for peace sake, a man with the present put it up, and it may be resolved to revenge. Therefore, for the peace of the state, the disposals are to look to it in the first place. 5. Agreed, for all the whole inhabitants to combine ourselves to assist any man in the pursuit of any party delinquent, with all best endeavors to attack him. But if any man rise a hubbub, and there be no just cause, then for the party that raised the hubbub to satisfy men for their time lost in it. 6. Agreed that if any man have a difference with any of the 5 disposers, which cannot be deferred till general meeting of the town, then he may have the clerk call the town together at his discretion for Tyrol. Instance, it may be a man may be to depart the land, or to a far part of the land, or his estate may lie upon a speedy trial, or the like case may fall out. 7. Agreed that the town by the 5 men shall give every man a deed of all his lands lying within the bounds of the plantations, to hold it by for after ages. 8. Agreed that the 5 disposers shall from the date hereof meet every month day upon general things, and at the quarter day to yield a new choice and give up their old accounts. 9. Agreed that the clerk shall call the 5 disposers together at the month day, and the general town together every quarter, to meet upon the general occasions from the date hereof. 11. Agreed that all acts of disposal on both sides to stand since the difference. 12. Agreed that every man hath not paid in his purchase money for his plantation shall make up his 10s to be 30s, equal with the first purchaser, and for all that are received townsmen hereafter, to pay the like sum of money to the town stock. These being those things we have generally concluded on for our peace, we desiring our loving friends to receive as our absolute determination, laying ourselves down as subjects to it. Thank you for joining us for today's primary source on the Appendix. We will see you in the stacks.